Welcome to episode 12 of Writing on Caffeine, the podcast where you can come along on a journey with a father and daughter as we attempt to write our first novels. I am Jonathan Franzone, and this is my daughter.
I am Ragan, also Franzone.
Now, Ragan, you've become a little bit of a night owl these days because of your career. Is that right?
Yes.
So you just woke up.
I was supposed to be here 3 hours ago. I woke up and I was like, oh no, it's 7 o'clock.
So we are recording at my house because schedules are a little weird these days. It's 8 p.m. as we've begun recording. And my lovely wife, Aubrey, has made us some homemade lemon bars that are extremely yummy.
Yeah, very tasty.
And we have paired that with a Dunkin' Donut coffee. Just a regular brewed coffee. I'm drinking mine black.
I've got hazelnut creamer in mine.
How is the writing coming, Ragan?
You know, I feel like every week you ask me this question, and every week I just kind of like, oh, you know, it's going. I'm not doing a very good job of keeping up here. I don't know what I need to do, but I think I might need to skip this scene that I'm trying to work through and just do something else.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Just find a different scene and write something.
But then my brain gets like all stressed out because it's out of order.
Yeah. So I actually, landmark, finished outlining my book.
High five.
High five.
Love that.
So it's not a real detailed outline, but I have a marker for every chapter in the book. This is the main thing that's going to happen in this chapter. And generally, like, who the actors are in that chapter. So
I love that.
Yes, I'm really excited about that. So the next time I work on it, I can just sit down and write. And what I don't want to do is fall into the trap of perpetual preparation.
Yeah.
And just start tweaking my outline and not ever write.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to try real hard to not do that.
Yeah, I think I kind of got stuck there for a while, but I'm attempting to dig my way out of that.
It's a good thing. Today we are going to be talking about book formats. Now this mainly impacts just the books that we read, but eventually, since we are planning on publishing these books, it will affect our books that we're writing. Mm-hmm. So I thought first we could talk about what the book formats are. There's not that many. And then we could talk about the pros and cons of each, what we like, what we don't like, etc.
Sounds great.
So there are physical books, obviously.
Yep.
This is the oldest tradition of books.
Mm-hmm.
It's just bound paper with writing on the pages.
Mm-hmm.
So for fiction, or for fiction, there is really three. There's hardcover, which is, the cover is hard, obviously.
Yep.
And the sizes of those range from 6 by 9 inches to 8.5 by 11.
8.5 by 11?
Yeah, that's a big hard cover.
I don't think I've ever seen a hardcover that big.
Yeah.
Maybe I have in like, you know, like those, I say this, I don't mean it in a rude way, because I have definitely participated in this, but like, you know, the nerd guides?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, Doctor Who guide, and then, you know, it'll show you like all the aliens or whatever. That, I feel like that's the format.
Like an illustrated guide to Star Wars or something.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Next we have trade paperback. Now these are the paperback books that are a little larger, so they're 5 by 8 inches generally. So take a 8.5 by 11 here in the U.S., 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and cut it in half long ways, and that's about the size of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have mass market paperback, which are the really smaller ones that are super thick because they're cut down so small.
Yeah, you'll tend to find like the mass-produced westerns.
Oh, yeah.
And mass-produced romance novels in that format.
All right, next we have ebooks.
Yep.
So ebooks that stands for electronic books. I'm old enough to remember when these first came out, and everybody thought the world was going to end. Either one, they were a horrible idea and they should be rejected completely, or people thought that we were going to stop printing books altogether, and it was just going to be ebooks.
Both parties were wrong.
Both of those ended up being wrong. And it ended up somewhere in the middle, and it's actually a nice option to have. So these are books that you'll buy at like Kindle, the Kindle store, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble. There's multiple ebook e-tailers. Mm-hmm. And then finally we have audiobooks. This is when someone reads the book and you listen to it.
Yep.
And I actually broke this down into two. So there are narrated audiobooks where you just have some person reading the book to you. And then there are actual dramatized versions where you have multiple people reading different parts, and generally one person's the narrator.
Yeah. And
they'll add sound effects and music, and it really kind of spruces things up.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So, what is your favorite book format and why?
Oh, man. I like different formats for different reasons.
Oh, good. Me too.
I don't think I can just pin down one as my absolute favorite. I tend to prefer physical books.
Right.
But if I had to narrow it down to which type of physical book is my favorite, I can't say because I use them for a bunch of different reasons.
So which do you have more of? Let me ask you that.
Trade paperbacks.
Okay.
I have so many trade paperbacks. Followed by a close second is hardcovers.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have very many paperback or physical books, partially because I have very limited bookshelf space. And like if I bought any more, like they're just stacked up in the corner somewhere.
Yeah, I don't really have that much book space either, but those little homies keep rolling in, man. Like, it's just... Sometimes I don't even know where they come from. I'm like, oh, look, a new book. It's not just stack this up next to the bookshelf.
So there's also ebooks, which, as you might guess, I prefer because of space limitations. But many years ago, I started reading ebooks, and one of the things that I love about ebooks is I have an iPad, and I can store 1,000 books on my iPad. Mm-hmm. More than that, really, but I mean, you're not going to read 1,000 books at any one sitting. So anywhere I go, if I just grab my iPad and it's charged, the battery's kind of not great right now, but if it's charged, then I have a book, and it could be any one of a number of books that I'm currently reading, and they're all there ready to go. And so I love the portability of it. I love that I can sit in my bed at night with the lights off while my wife is already asleep and read a book. Yep. And you can have the different contrasts, so you could have the black background with the white text, and so it's not causing a big glare or anything.
Yeah, I own a Kindle, and I like it.
Yeah.
I like that it's, like you said, the like page contrast, but like the Kindle has like a special coating over the screen so that sun doesn't reflect off of it.
Yeah, that would be nice. I don't have one of those.
We should get you one.
Father's Day.
I feel like you would be like, I feel like you would use yours a lot.
Well, here's the offshoot of that is those Kindles are tied to the Kindle store.
That's true.
But a lot of my I get ebooks from different places. Some of them you can get direct from the author. Some of them you can get from different, like the Apple bookstore and various different places. And so I like to have all of my books. I get them all and I convert them into a format in a management software that I use called Calibre. I think that's how you pronounce it. Maybe it's Calibre. Anyway. So this software manages all of my ebooks, and I can tag them like I want. I can search. I can have collections. And so this is where I keep all of my books. And then I can just sync it to my device with whatever books that I want to have on the device. With a Kindle, I can't really do that because...
What about with like a Kindle Fire? Because that's more like a tablet than it is Kindle.
Well, yeah, I just have an iPad though.
Yeah, that's true. Your iPad kind of lame. Maybe we should just get you a new iPad.
So I think we've talked in the past about liking book formats, and you tend to prefer the physical copy. And I tend to prefer the ebook. But the other day, Aubrey and I, my wife and I, we went to a bookstore I think it was Books A Million.
Yeah, the MVP of bookstores.
And we were just walking around, and as one does, I wandered over to the science fiction fantasy section, which is the best section.
Yep.
And as I was standing there and kind of just browsing and strolling along, I would see a book that caught my eye, one that I knew or didn't know. And I'd pull it off and feel it and hold it and open it and look at it. And it clicked that there is something special about having a physical book.
Oh, yeah.
There's a connection that you get there just from being able to touch it and handle it and hold it and smell it as you read it. And I looked at several books there that I own and I've read, and just pulling them out, I got a new kind of sense of excitement almost at holding the book, which is interesting. So I think there is an emotional component. There's some weird tangible component that happens with physical books that you don't get with an ebook.
Yeah, I feel like my bookshelf is almost like a trophy shelf.
Yeah.
It's like, I've read these.
Yeah, and interestingly, some physical books that I own are the ones that I really want to keep. So I do have a connection with these. So I have a collector's edition of The Lord of the Rings.
Like you do.
It's leather bound. It's got its own little slipcase. It's really nice. I have a collector's edition of The Hobbit.
Yeah.
I love that one. I just got Dune in hardcover. It's like a collector's special cover. So I do like those sorts of books to keep, and I think it would be neat to have those and read the physical copy and, someday pass them on to you guys or grandkids or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I love the special editions and the fancy editions. I just opened a book box before we started, and it has the airbrushed edges. I think it's so pretty. But I feel like the books that I've annotated have more character.
Yeah.
I love those almost more. Because it's just look, I loved this book.
Right. Not only have you read it and held it, but you've personalized it.
Yeah. And
stamped your personality all over it.
Yeah. One day, this is what I think about, which might be a little bit morbid, but that's just kind of who I am as a person. But one day, I'm going to die. And a lot of my books, depending on how, my belongings get distributed, may end up, at a thrift store or something.
Right.
And I want the person reading my annotated copy of The Hobbit to have a great time. I'm here to entertain.
Right.
Entertain myself, entertain whoever else reads that copy. I don't know. That just makes me happy.
So you could be like the Half-Blood Prince in the Half-Blood Prince.
Yeah.
Harry gets the copy of the potion book that had been annotated by Severus Snape.
Yep.
Spoiler alert.
I feel like it's too late in the game to have spoiler alerts for Harry Potter.
Absolutely.
If you don't know, then
then
that's too bad. You missed the I don't know, something that's going past.
Right. So audiobooks, I love audiobooks. I mainly use audiobooks for fiction. Mm-hmm. So I have generally got several books going at the same time. At least one fiction, and then usually several nonfiction books. I'm studying for a master's degree, so I'm usually reading something there.
Yeah.
And there's a men's group at our church that I participate in, and we've usually got a book going. And so I try to read nonfiction in ebook form or physical copy. And then I have audiobook that I listen to, like when I'm driving somewhere.
Right.
Or walking around the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And of those, I found that I really, really enjoy the dramatized versions. So there's this one company called Graphic Audio that have done several that I really enjoyed. They did the Black Prism that I just finished, which it was really done well. And then they also did Elantris by Brandon Sanderson.
Ooh.
I listened to that one. It was really good. They did Warbreaker from Brandon Sanderson. I think those are the only ones they've done, maybe, of his.
This is really weird, but I don't think I've listened to a lot of dramatized audiobooks. I I don't know why this sticks with me, but I listened to The Secret Garden, dramatized when I was in school. And I really enjoyed that because that was a book I really didn't think I was going to like, but listening to it like that was good. And then also The Lord of the Rings that you sent me.
Oh, yeah.
That has like the movie soundtrack in the back.
Yeah, it's kind of in between a dramatized and a narrated, so it's the same guy.
Oh, is it? He just uses voices?
He does voices really well.
That's a lot of what I listen to. Like, if I listen, they'll... just like a good narrator, just does voices.
Yeah, like, what's his name? Jim Dale.
Yeah, Jim Dale is good.
He's excellent.
The guy who did the first Fireblood was really good.
Oh, yeah.
And then after that, I got kind of disappointed. But,
Little disappointed. Yeah, so the book series that I'm currently listening to, they switched... No, they didn't switch narrators. I thought they were... So usually there's an introduction. This is such and such book by whoever. Mm-hmm. And it's usually the narrator that does that. And in this one, the first two books were a male voice. And then on the third one, the introduction and stuff started with a female voice. And I thought, oh no, like they're going to change everything. I'm going to have to get used to this new narrator. But they didn't. She was just introducing the book.
You know what I can't stand though? LibriVox recordings.
Oh yeah, well, that's like the thrift store of audiobooks.
These people can't read.
Yeah.
Are like at the same reading out loud level as me, which we both know is terrible.
Right.
And then also, I can hear their mouth noises. And it makes me want to die.
Well, just anybody can record those.
Yeah.
That's why that is. There's the production quality is not great. Well, on some of them, it actually is good. People go to the effort. We've got a little battle going in the background. The cat and the dog.
So, I want to back up a little bit and talk about physical books again.
Before you do, I've always had this this dream. I don't know if it's a dream. It's kind of an idea I had stuck in my head. So anybody can go on LibriVox and record something. Anyway, one of the books that I've loved is The Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan. And there are many recordings of that on LibriVox. But I had the idea of doing an audio book recording of that myself, but using a really, really deep South accent.
That would be so fun. Can we do that as a family?
That would be hilarious. Dramatized
family recording.
Yeah.
Sweet Home Alabama version.
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, let's back up to physical books.
All right, so I just kind of gonna word vomit here a little bit.
Do it.
So the trade paperbacks are what I most often read, and that is because I frequently commit one of the physical book reading sins, which is folding the cover back around the back of the book when I'm reading, which is just, I don't know. It's just something that I do. But those are the ones that I annotate. I really am starting to gain more appreciation for hardcover books just because I like how pretty they are.
Oh, yeah.
And they stack really well on my shelf. And then I also have a great fondness for mass market paperback books. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because they look bigger.
Right.
Maybe it's because they're weapons. Especially if it's a Brandon Sanderson one, man. That thing is huge.
Do they make a mass paperback of...
I have Oathbringer in mass market paperback.
Oh, my goodness.
It's like...
Is it thicker than it is wide?
Yeah. It's huge. The thing with those is I tend to have sweaty hands. And so when I'm reading them, the words smudge because they are mass market paperback. So the printing isn't great quality.
Yeah.
So I have to be like very careful with the edges.
And then the pages warp.
Yeah.
Because of the moisture.
And I don't like annotating those.
Yeah.
Is something I've known because they do smudge.
Right.
But I do like having them. I think, I don't know, it's very easy for me to find my Sanderson novels because I have all the mass market paperback editions. And I just really like those a lot. Something that I've done as I've been collecting more and more books, when I put the books on my shelf, if I haven't read them yet, I put them spine backwards.
Oh, yeah.
So the pages are facing forwards so that I don't get the joy of seeing them on the shelf, so that I'm more inclined to read my physical to-be-read list.
Yeah, I've seen your bookshelf, and it is almost a work of art by itself. The way you have them arranged with, colors and patterns and stuff. That's very nice.
I like it a lot. It's one of the happy things in my life. But yeah. Here's something I think should be a thing.
Okay.
I think if you spend money to buy a nice copy of a book, it should come with an ebook.
Sometimes they do.
I think all of them should.
All of them should.
If I'm spending $30 on a book, I'll spend $33 if you just tack on an ebook, man. It just needs a QR code in the front.
Right.
And because I like the ebooks to read, but I like the physical copies to have.
Yes. So Amazon started doing that several years ago, but it's not every book. I think it's dependent on the publisher.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen a lot of them recently. Of course, I don't buy a lot of physical books.
Yeah.
So that may be part of the reason. But they would have where you bought the physical book, and then on that confirmation page, it would just have a link there or something that you could click, and then it would also give you the ebook. And then a Christian publisher, Ligonier Ministries, the name of the publisher is something else, like Reformation Publishing or something like that. But if they publish a book, you can buy the hard copy, and they'll give you the ebook for free. And that's really nice, because I have some of those books, commentaries, that I have physical copies, but then I also have the ebook, so I can read and highlight and annotate the ebook copy and not mess up my hardcover.
Yeah. When I was in school, that's an example of an 8.5 by 11. Textbooks.
Yes, textbooks.
When I was in school, it didn't make any sense to have the ebook of my textbooks because they were massive. And there was no way I was going to be able to grasp a concept when I have, a little tiny iPad e-reader screen, and my book is this big and it's got pictures and tables and stuff. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So that was not super. I did have the ebook of them, but it wasn't very helpful because they were nursing textbooks.
Yeah.
And I could access them on my laptop, which was sometimes helpful, but mostly I just carried around the big textbooks.
Yeah, I find for my textbooks, I prefer the ebooks, mainly because a lot of the classes that I'm taking, I end up having to write papers and quote things. So if I'm highlighting them in my iPad or whatever I'm reading it on, then later I can just export those highlights as quotes. And if you use the Kindle app, it'll even give you the location and basically do the footnoting for you, which is really nice.
That is nice.
Yeah. Another benefit of listening to audiobooks is you can listen to them pretty quickly.
Yes.
So if I've needed to get through a book quicker than normal, then I can grab the audiobook and listen to it at 2x speed.
I do that as well. I with books that I struggle with reading, just sometimes my brain works faster, or my eyes work faster than my brain. So my eyes will read really, really fast, but my brain's not processing fast enough.
Right.
So they're not synchronized.
Yeah.
Especially with Sanderson novels, because I want to read it fast because I read fast, but then my brain is not processing the information that he's giving me. And so I'll do both. I'll listen to the audiobook on 2x speed, and then I'll also read along.
Oh, okay, yeah. I've tried that. That's a reading hack somebody told me about. I hate it. I can't do it. I can't get the speeds to match.
Oh, yeah.
I'm either reading it quicker than the audiobook, or the audiobook's outpacing me.
Well, that's why you got to do 2x.
Or I need to, certain places I might want to slow down and read it a bit slower, so my pace is changing.
Oh, yeah,
Which is...
I tend to read at about 2x speed, though.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, see, my thing is, if I'm listening to a book, I struggle because I can't see how the names are written.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember their names at all.
Yeah, that is a problem because I listen to a lot of fiction on audiobook, and I'll say the name to someone who's read the book, and they're like, who? Like, well, I can't even spell it for you. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, all I know is the way this guy pronounced it or this lady pronounced it.
Right.
That's the only thing I know about the name.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of times you'll miss something because of the way they spelled it. Like, there's actually something peculiar about it.
Right.
You miss illustrations if they have little pictures in the book. There's no maps in an audiobook.
Yeah. Stuff
like that. So, there is a downside.
That's true.
But the cool side is I can read while I'm driving.
Yeah. I listened to two Doug Wilson fiction books recently on Canon Plus, and that was nice to have while I was driving.
Yeah. It's really neat when the author narrates the book.
Yeah, that might be something fun to do.
Yeah.
Like, once we actually finish reading the books in 20 years.
No, we're finishing them by December.
The
first draft.
First draft by December.
By December, so we do not have consequences.
When you publish, are you going to just do paperback? Or are you going to do hardback? Or are you just going to do like Amazon Direct so they can decide? Or
I don't know. We'll probably have to do more research as we get closer, but I'm pretty sure I want it to be an ebook because that's my favorite format. As far as the printing goes, though, I know you can upload it to Amazon and they'll just do their printer, but I've heard the quality is not real great with those.
I've heard that too.
But to go with a better quality printer is probably going to cost money.
Right.
So I don't know how much money. With Amazon, you just upload it and then they take a cut whenever it sells. So there's no investment needed there, which is kind of a benefit.
The thing is, for your genre, which is middle grade, kids aren't going to have e-readers.
That is true. Well,
so
they don't.
Kids don't really read electronic books. I don't think they do. I don't know.
Maybe we could do a poll.
I haven't been a kid in a while, so...
You'll always be a kid to me.
I feel like a kid, but I technically, legally, I guess I'm not. So
right, yeah.
I was not into ebooks when I was a kid, but then again, I guess I'm not really into them now, so who knows?
That is a good point, so I guess I probably need to look more into that and have a good quality printed book for kids to buy.
Mm-hmm. So do little illustrations and put them in the front of each chapter.
Yeah, you can do the illustrations.
You're a better artist than I am. Don't play games here, sir.
I can't draw people.
You don't have to draw people. Draw like the little radio flyer wagon.
Yeah. Yeah, I could do that. That would be fun.
Yeah.
What books are you reading or have you recently finished?
I'm reading Horse and His Boy, The Way of Kings still, which I have transferred over to audio listening because I'm struggling there.
Yeah.
Still annotating the Throne of Glass book. I had taken a pause on that. I started actually reading and annotating The Hobbit.
Yes. For our annotation project.
Yes. I recently finished reading Ride, Sally, Ride by Doug Wilson, which I loved.
Yeah.
I thought it was really great. I just really liked the whole... I didn't expect it to be a fantasy book, honestly. And then I started listening to it and I was like, oh. I thought I was going to listen to like some sort of commentary on something, and it kind of was, but it is. It was a really good fiction story. I was really invested in the story. I also listened to his romance novel that he wrote on a dare.
Right.
Called The Man in the Dark.
And?
I liked it. I think I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads, but you and I both know that's not really saying much.
Right.
Because I give most things 4 stars. I felt like Doug Wilson didn't do quite as good a job as writing from the female perspective as he could have. It felt very bland and stereotypical when he was writing from the girl's perspective.
Yeah. Like,
there was no depth. She was just like, I'm mad at the new pastor because he's a good singer. And I don't know why I'm mad, but he's so attractive. And I was like, I don't think that's how maybe that's how some girls think. That's definitely not how I think. So I didn't really relate to the main character very well.
Yeah. But, the main character is a female?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So I didn't relate to that very well. And so that was hard for me to connect with. But there was like a little like whodunit, so that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's fun.
It wasn't really a whodunit. It was, I know whodunit, but how are they going to catch him kind of situation.
So a little bit of mystery.
Yeah. It was cute. I wouldn't read it again, but it wasn't a waste of time.
That's good. So I have finished a couple of books. One, I took your advice. So we had talked about needing to read more in our genre as we're writing these books.
Yeah.
So you're going to read, I think you read a lot of YA anyway.
Yeah.
So I have been reading a lot of just epic fantasy from Sanderson. So I switched back to Brandon Sanderson's middle grade series, which is the Alcatraz series.
Right.
So the first one is Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians. And so I picked up the second one, which is Alcatraz versus the Scrivener's Bones. I listened to that on audiobook. It was really good. So he writes it from a first-person perspective, but mixed with almost a second-person perspective. So he's talking to you, the reader, about why he's writing this book. The first book, I thought it was really fun and interesting, and he added a lot of humor that way. And in the first book, he actually explained how to write books using that method.
That's fun.
And the second one...
It was annoying.
It started getting annoying. And by the end of the book, because he does it at the beginning of every chapter, and by the end of the book, I was like, can you please just tell the story? Like, I'm tired of this. And then I just started the third one, and he's doing the same thing, and I'm already tired of the talking to me bit.
Yeah.
But other than that, they're really good stories, and I think I'll gain a lot of insight into writing my book just by being in that world. Yeah. I also finished The Lost Metal.
Ah, good job.
By Brandon Sanderson. It is not a small book.
No.
But I powered through it, which it was no effort to power through it. It gets really good.
Does it?
The second half, yeah. So I finished it last night.
Man, okay, we know this is the Brandon Sander Fans podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
However, his second generation Mistborn series, I feel like you have to get like half to like 3/4 through before it really like takes a hold on you.
Right, yeah.
And then you're like, oh, okay, finally interested in what's going on here.
There was a little bit of that in this one, but I'm already pretty invested in the series, so it didn't take much for me. But I got to tell you, at the end of this, it is the last book in this era.
Oh, it is?
Of the Mistborn. So there's the first epic, which is the original Mistborn, and then this epic, which is the Wax and Wayne series.
There's 4, right?
Yeah, 4 books.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the last one. He ends it. And he ends it really well.
Oh, better than the first?
Like, you are just emotionally gripped by this ending.
Cool. To
the point where, you know, how you finish a book and then you just have to stare at a wall.
Yeah, book hangover.
And have a little bit of grief and get over having finished the book. So it was a little bit of that experience. So it ended really well. That's about all I'll say for that. I am still reading Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. And today, also picking up on your advice, I looked and saw, there's an audiobook of this.
Love that.
So I'm probably going to grab the audiobook and start listening to it when I'm walking or driving or something, so I can make some better progress through that. Oh, and I'm also reading The Hobbit for our annotation project. So.
Yeah, I was thinking once we finish the first chapter, we could just kind of like take a video of like what they look like, and then you and I could like do like an audio voiceover and kind of make a nice little video and post it.
Sure. I'll let you be in charge of that.
Yeah, I will take lead on that.
Thank you for joining us in this 12th episode of Writing on Caffeine. We hope you'll join us again in 2 weeks. Please subscribe wherever you find podcasts. If you are so inclined, please leave a review. 5-star reviews are preferable. Be sure to visit the website, writingoncaffeine.com, where you can view the show notes and subscribe to our email list so that you never miss an episode.
Bye!
Bye-bye. One of the books that I love...
He said, let me out.
That's all right.
No, this will be good bloopers for the end.
Yeah. You can stick them in the garage or outside.
Little kitty.
She's pawing at the window.